Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to explore something pretty fascinating. Hypno-channeling. We're drawing our insights from the HypnoVibes YouTube channel.
That's right. And we'll be focusing on one specific session. You've got Naomi, who's the hypnotist, and Navi, the participant. And the idea presented is that Navi's consciousness acts as the channel for, well, higher consciousness.
So our mission for this deep dive is really to get into the core ideas that came through in that session, particularly things around, raising consciousness and different kinds of energy.
Exactly. We'll touch on quite a bit, career stuff, energy flow, all sorts of things presented in the session. And just a quick note, if this topic really grabs you, Naomi Yu, the hypnotist, has a book called The Next Level You on Amazon. It digs deeper into this consciousness-raising idea.
Okay, great. So let's get into it. One of the first things that kind of jumped out at me was about jobs. This feeling people have in like 9-to-5 jobs, feeling unfulfilled but also, scared to leave.
Yeah, that came up early on. The channeled consciousness mentioned that exact feeling being stuck, wanting something more, but fear being a big block.
But Naomi's perspective, or at least what came through, was that it doesn't have to be this huge sudden jump, right?
Right. That was interesting. The idea that a gradual transition is actually possible. It suggests that maybe even small shifts in how you think or feel within your current job could start things moving. You don't necessarily have to quit tomorrow. It's more about that inner alignment first, perhaps.
And then there was that really intriguing anecdote Naomi shared about people finding her office when she first started, even without like a Google Maps listing or anything, just finding it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That really makes you think, doesn't it? It
Yeah.
hints at something beyond just directions. The source material actually says they somehow can sense the energy,
Mm-hmm.
which really points to this powerful idea that, if you truly believe in what you're doing, it creates this kind of energetic pull.
An energetic beacon, almost.
Yeah, attracting people who resonate with that energy. It's a fascinating concept.
Okay, so moving on from that, the session talked about Navi feeling this need to flow more. What did that mean?
Well, the method described was quite specific, focusing energy through the eyes. The idea presented was that this helps you become more open, more receptive to that flow.
So Navi wasn't initially feeling that flow.
Apparently not as much at the start, but during the session it seems he became more open. The description was almost like he was receiving healing from the energy, becoming more attuned to it. It suggests our focus, our intention, can really shift our energetic state.
Okay, that connects quite well to the next bit about raising your vibration or consciousness level. What were the ways mentioned for doing that?
Well, helping others was mentioned, which is, pretty universal.
Sure.
But then it got more specific. Musical arts came up. And interestingly, not just performing music, but musical arts teaching.
Oh, teaching. Why? Teaching specifically.
The idea seemed to be about pouring your heart out, connecting with your higher self, while guiding others. That act of sharing and guiding was highlighted as particularly potent for raising your own vibration.
That's a really neat distinction. And then there was this other idea that felt a bit surprising, just being near people.
Yes, that was definitely unexpected. The suggestion was that you can raise vibrations simply by sitting next to others, even if you don't share specific talents or even talk much.
How does that work, according to the session?
It's described as getting on the same wavelength by closing your eyes, being present together in that moment. Think of it like collective resonance, maybe. You tap into a shared calm or presence.
But then it took a bit of a turn, didn't it, toward embracing things we might find difficult.
Exactly. It mentioned embracing even offensive feelings or individuals.
Which is kind of the opposite of what we usually try to do, right? Avoid discomfort.
Precisely. But the session proposed that acknowledging these things, not resisting them, could actually be part of raising your vibration. It challenges that idea of only seeking out the positive.
Okay, so if you're trying to create an environment for this kind of energy flow, what did the session suggest works best?
Optimal settings were described as being in circles. Specifically, groups of 4 seemed ideal.
4. Any reason given?
Not explicitly why 4, but it was emphasized. 8 was mentioned as good too, but with a sort of separateness for in groups of 4 within the 8, like 2 groups of 4 interacting. The key seemed to be fostering a flowing nature of cosmic energy.
And postures. Did that matter?
Yeah, things like crossing your legs, meditation style, or resting hands in the lap were suggested as helpful. Talking wasn't seen as necessary unless a message of importance needed to come through naturally.
And location. Does it have to be out in nature?
Nature is ideal, apparently, but indoor settings are perfectly suitable too.
During the session, there was also this observation of energy colors in the office, green and purple.
Uh-huh. Those were observed, and they were identified as loss-killing energy and cosmic energy.
Loss killing, what does that mean?
It wasn't elaborated on much beyond the name, but the core idea was that these energies, the green and purple, were present because of the work being done in that office.
Mhm.
The focused intention there attracts more energy.
But the energy itself doesn't do anything specific in the session.
That was the clarification, yeah.
Yeah.
The energy simply is. It's there. It's the individual's own input, their own intention and awareness during the session that really matters. The energy is just the backdrop, sort of.
Got it. Okay, then things shifted toward portals and ley lines. Sounds quite mysterious.
It does, yeah. What was interesting was the suggestion that portals might actually be quite ubiquitous, more common than we think.
Okay. And how did they relate to ley lines? Are they the same thing?
No, they were differentiated. Ley lines were described as being more sensitive to cosmic energy. Their main role, according to this, is helping us develop our own sensitivity to that cosmic energy.
So being on a ley line helps you feel the energy better.
Exactly. And while being on one might make it easier to, quote, create a portal that's not seen as their primary purpose, their purpose is more about attunement.
And this ties into that idea of forgotten knowledge, doesn't it?
Precisely. The channeled info suggested that while many of us might feel like we don't know where these ley lines are, some people do know, it implies this was perhaps common knowledge once, but it's been forgotten by many.
So how could someone, sense these ley lines if they don't have a map?
Through meditation, primarily. The suggestion was that you might sense them in spirit form or astro form.
Astral form, like astral travel.
It was presented as one way, yeah. Astroform was the term used to access ley lines, and the really significant point there was that you don't necessarily need to be in your physical body to access the information that ley lines might hold.
Wow. Okay, that opens up a lot of possibilities about consciousness and information access.
It really does. It suggests information might exist or be accessible in ways beyond our usual physical senses.
Which leads to this idea of the potential of cosmic energy.
Yeah.
And maybe the dangers.
Exactly. The session touched on the potential, as you become more sensitive, to create anything you want. Huge potential. But there is also this hint, the suggestion, that maybe past civilizations misused this kind of energy.
Misused it how?
It wasn't detailed, but it was implied that this misuse might be part of why our understanding of true human history is incomplete. Like we lost something along the way because of how this power was wielded.
A cautionary element there.
Definitely. A sense of responsibility that comes with accessing this kind of energy or sensitivity.
So wrapping up the session itself, how did they bring Navi back to, normal awareness?
It was a simple counting process, bringing him back step by step.
How did Navi seem afterwards?
The indication was that he seemed pleased, like he enjoyed the experience, it felt positive.
And Naomi had a way to gauge the connection without even knowing his name initially.
Yeah, that was a curious detail. She mentioned noticing a subtle squinting of his eyes as an indicator of connection. Suggests a kind of nonverbal, maybe energetic communication happening even before the main channeling started.
Okay, so to recap this deep dive then, we've touched on quite a lot, all from this Hypnovibe session. Ideas about breaking free from unfulfilling work, the power of just being present with others, how energy might flow best in certain settings.
Right, and then the more esoteric stuff, like the different energy types observed and these concepts of portals and ley lines.
There were definitely some, aha moments in there for me. That story about Naomi's office drawing people in energetically.
Uh-huh.
And this possibility of accessing information from ley lines without even being physically present.
Yeah, those really stand out. Makes you wonder.
Which brings us to a final thought for you listening. Considering all this talk about interconnectedness and subtle energies, how might your own energy, your own presence, be quietly influencing your surroundings and the people you interact with? Maybe in ways you haven't considered.
And could there be, like the session hinted, a deeper knowledge about energy and consciousness? Maybe forgotten knowledge that we're only just starting to explore again.
Something to ponder. Perhaps checking out resources like Naomi Sue's The Next Level. You could offer some pathways for your own reflection on this.
Because most people are, let's say, doing 9-to-5 job, and they're not excited about that. But most people are afraid to just leave that, including this person right now. So yes, they don't have to do what I did, just switch, right? They can do it.
It's a gradual process.
And I really cannot really understand. When I started, people really kept coming to my office. I did not even have Google business. I don't know how people find me, but they did. So I really
Technology is not the only way that could be used to bring in others.
So they somehow can sense the energy.
They can.
I had a very tiny office at that time, and no one complained about it. So I was very grateful, and then I feel I was really being supported.
You were.
So when you believe what you do, then that is the case. So maybe I can bring him back, or he needs this more, a bit longer.
He's enjoying the feeling,
Oh, is it something to do with his eyes?
focusing the energy to make it more flowing.
More what?
Flowing.
Flowing.
He wasn't tapped into it as much as he was in this session earlier. Now he's more open.
So it's almost like receiving healing from you, from this energy.
Could call it that.
And I think
Could ask more questions if you want to.
yes, let's see. So the best way to raise our vibrations or raise our consciousness is, let's say, helping others.
It's one of them.
What other ways?
Your musical arts is one of them. Musical arts. Teaching is another one.
Because when you teach, you have to
pouring out your heart.
You have to connect it with your higher self.
Yes. Sitting next to one another is another.
Just sitting
Yes.
with other people
Yes.
without talking.
Silence.
Wow. So how does why this way works?
To understand being in the same wavelength, closing your eyes and just embracing.
So it doesn't matter who you're sitting with.
No.
Oh.
Even if the feeling feels offensive, embrace it. Even if you don't get along with that person, embrace it.
We almost don't have this kind of situation in our life.
Yes. We tend to avoid it.
So let's say we don't just sit together in silence. It can be, let's say, meditation.
It can be, or just staying in silence.
So again, can you explain the mechanism of this?
The most optimal setting would be inner circles or the flowing nature of cosmic energy, crossing your legs as you would in meditation. Hold hands if you want to, or you could just have it on your lap, your hands, and sit in silence. Ideally, it should be in fours.
In what?
In fours. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 people.
Oh, why?
It creates the most optimal circle of energy.
Interesting. So let's say 8 is good too?
Separateness, 4 in groups of 4.
I see. And you don't talk to each other, but let's say each person should be...
If the need comes to talk, let it come naturally.
They will talk.
If they choose to. If it feels it's worth noting that they have a message of importance to convey, then they can.
So they maybe will come up with...
They will come up to them in silence.
And they let's say, sit on the floor.
Yes.
And let's say if they don't...
Nature would be more ideal, but this would be suitable.
So do you feel the energy of this office?
See a lot of green and purple.
What type of energies are those? Healing and cosmic.
Yes.
So the energy, let's say, is in the office is because what made the energy?
You've made that energy.
I've made it.
Not you particularly, the work that you do have made that energy more apparent in this.
So the energy will come, will be like attracted to this place.
As you're doing your sessions, yes.
See. So what those energy can do for the session?
Doesn't have to do anything, it just is. Just let it be.
I see.
Your own input is all that's necessary.
Say one more time.
Your own input is all that's necessary.
Can you be more specific?
The sessions that you do allow positive vibrations to be put out to others.
So what is portal? It seems they're everywhere in the universe. Why, let's say, portal can be a certain place or the ley line?
Ley lines are different.
It's not the same, but
No.
ley line can be, how to say, let's say if you want to create a portal when you're on top, let's say on ley line will be easier.
It's not meant for that purpose.
Oh, what the ley line is for?
More sensitive to cosmic energy, to develop that sensitivity.
So we don't really know on Earth where the ley line is.
You do.
It's just we think we don't know, but there's certain people, they know. And we never learned this.
Do not think less of yourself. You've just forgotten the information.
What?
Do not think less of yourself. You've just forgotten the information. One particular person is special. The knowledge is there if you tap into it.
So if I do meditation, I can know, oh, they're there.
Could be there in your spirit form if you want to.
Say one more time.
Could be there in your spirit form if you want to. Spirit form.
Oh, now I'm more confused. I don't understand.
Your astral form.
Astral form is a ley line?
It's one of the ways you could do it.
Wow. So everyone is...
Anyone could tap into it, yes. You don't have to be there in physical form to access the information.
This is something new. What we can do with the ley line?
The question that is, could you seek the ley lines?
One more time.
What is the question?
What we can do with this?
You could create anything you want with it. Tap into that energy. Everything is at your disposal.
You can create.
Yes. Once you're sensitive to the cosmic energy, everything is at your disposal. But the ones in the past have misused it.
You're talking about
previous civilizations in your human history.
We don't really know the true human history, right?
Connections are being made, but it's not in the exact understanding that is there at this time.
Well, there's so many things.
Connections are being made.
And I would like to talk to you again in the future.
Yes.
Today we had almost 1 hour conversation, and I really appreciate, especially the new concepts. That's why there's always so much to learn. And also thank you for upgrading this person you're in. And I'm sure he will be pleased to be able to have more focus, to be in the flow state.
Does not want to let go. He seems pleased with this. That's why.
He just enjoys.
Yes.
Very good. So
But he could end the session. He could end the session.
And I still cannot know anything about if you have a name for me to call.
It won't be needed.
So when I just want to connect with you, I just say something that I can describe.
You'll see it in his eyes.
What?
You'll see it in the squinting of his eyes.
I don't know what that means.
The squinting of his eyes.
And I think I know how to connect with you next time.
Yes.
And thank you again. And I'll speak with you soon. And now, Navi's conscious awareness can be back when I count to 3. And you'll be back feeling wonderful all over. 1, coming back very nicely. 2, almost here. And 3.